What up, y'all? It's Sam at Thencan Designs here with another video to help your small business get more TLC. That's traffic, leads, clients. Because I know you don't need a website, you need more clients. So today, in this video, we're going to talk about how to set up a Google business profile. And I'm going to do this from the perspective of a digital marketer setting it up for a client, but you can totally follow these directions if you want to do it for yourself. This is actually part 4 of a video series where I set up a landing page for a soloist looking to go legit. So it's Knife Doctor, owned by Gary here in Bend, and his site is now live, and so we need to get the Google business profile started. So let's jump right into it. Now, one step that you're really not going to get to see is the setting up of the Google business profile. And so if you need to start a Google business profile from scratch, you can just go to google.com/business. And you just click manage now and you start, whoops, I'm already logged in, but on this screen you would actually, you can, normally there's a way to add your business here, and if it's not there, then you just have to add in the settings. So it's, there's not a lot of steps at the start, but yeah, it's pretty quick. And I wanted to take a moment to talk about verification because it's a really important ranking factor, and I have an example here of a business that I have that's not verified, and I kind of blocked out their name so you can't see them yet because they're behind the scenes, but as you can see, they have a little message here that says get verified. So Knife Doctor was different because he'd set up the site with a Google domain and had a Google workspace email set up, and so it actually just verified it super fast. He was able to verify it through a code by email, which is awesome. When I verified my business, I had to use a postcard, and this person is being required to record a video, and that's kind of been the hang up there. But if you don't have to verify your business profile to fill it out, so if you don't, you can just go to this screen, click get verified, and it'll start with the address, you fill that out, and then on the next screen it'll ask you how do you want to verify, and so for this person it would ask them to do a video. So we don't need to do that. So let's go over to Knife Doctor. One of the first things that I recommend if you're having somebody else manage your Google business profile is to delegate access by adding the person that will manage the account as a manager, not as the owner. So I want to give you an example of that. So this is Thencan Designs Google business profile. That is my personal Gmail right there, which I've obfuscated behind the scenes. But I am the owner, but it's my personal account that owns it, and then I delegated access to Thencan Designs, my business, to manage it. Now, if you want to know what that looks like behind the scenes, I've done this here. So I'm a Google business profile agency in the eyes of Google, and I have different businesses that I manage, and so under here are all the different groups. And so what I did for Knife Doctor is I created a new group, and then when you click on group settings, it will show you the business group number that's different for the different groups that you own. I've run into that problem before, so I sent him that, and then I got an invitation here, I accepted it, and now I have Knife Doctor in there, and I can access it as a manager. So it looks very similar. It has the owner's name on the top, and then Thencan Designs as the manager on the bottom. So that's why I have access to the behind the scenes. And if you're wondering how to get to the screen, you just go up here in the top and you type in my business. That's simple, like literally my business, not the name of your business, my space business, BUSINESS. It's a little confusing the first time you do it, but that's how you do it. It'll show all the businesses you manage. For most people, especially if you're a business owner, it will just be one. However, if you are like me, you might see multiple ones, and so I'm not going to bring that up because I want to show my other clients here. But anyway, here's where we start. Now, where to begin when you're setting up the Google business profile. Now, I will say I was going to do this live, as I've been doing with kind of the other videos for this landing page, but I thought just for the sake of time, I'd focus more on explaining the why behind some of these things and not waste time creating the content. So I'll show you how I kind of did it. So the first thing I like to do is get an easy win by adding photos. And it's going to ask for a logo and a cover photo, and I usually try to follow up with one extra photo or two, so that way it sees some activity. And then I'll usually have some photos in the back pocket that I'll save for later. Google Business Profiles really like to see activity, so I'll try to schedule out some photos to post for later. but I try to start with 3. I'll show you here. Oh, and by the way, to add the managers, you go to the settings and you go to people and access. I should have mentioned that earlier. I'm going to just look at the photos here. Right now, we don't have a lot of photos for this business, and so we're thinking about getting a couple photos and adding some to the site and using them behind the scenes. And so the big ones you want to get are the logo and the cover photo. And so this is the logo, and you'll notice that I put some space kind of on the sides, and I just kind of followed the little Canva square that it makes, because this will become a circle. You will notice here that it's not showing, but when I look at my business, it's showing here. So Google's still learning about this page. It was just submitted less than a week ago, 3 days ago, and the Google Business Profile was created, I want to say, 2 nights ago. So it's still picking everything up. And so I always like to see this profile strength as a green circle, and we're not going to see that today because I'm not adding a cover photo, but just so you know, like that's the missing piece of the puzzle here. So now let's go to edit profile. And this is kind of where you're going to spend most of your time. This usually comes in from the settings you do at the start, and so make sure you do that and have your name right. If there's any taglines or anything like that that is on all of your branding, you can add that to your business name. However, if it's not in your signage, your business cards, and everything else, then you should not include it, because you're probably doing what a lot of people like to do, and it's called keyword stuffing. Just a quick example here is my water bottle. You'll see a sticker with my logo, and on the bottom it says Bend Web Design and SEO. That's a new thing. And then I have like my coffee mug right here, Bend Web Design. So in my business cards somewhere, Thencan Designs, you can see it on the logo right there in white. It's really tiny, but it says Bend Web Design. So everywhere my logo is present, it says Bend Web Design. So I can say that in there, and I do. If Gary wanted to do some rebranding to Knife Doctor in the early days, maybe the next round of cards, he could put, Bend Knife Sharpening Service. That could help, and he could add that there. But since he doesn't, we just put his business name, and usually that's fine too. So I just wanted to make sure I said something about the business name. Next up is the business category. This is super, super important. You want to make sure you have the right primary category, and you want to add as many secondary categories as possible. Now, how do you know which category to add? Well, I usually try to think of like a big city, and I'll go there, and so I'll just say Portland in this case. And I have a couple plugins here. I have both GMB Everywhere, which is doing all this red stuff over here, and I have Plepper, which you'll see when I click on one. So notice that they're all sharpening services. It's kind of getting cut off, but I'm going to click on one of these now, and Plepper should pop up here in a second. There it is, sharpening service. And then as you go down the list, everything is a sharpening service. Some of them are also like knife stores, but that's not what Knife Doctor is. And so really this is kind of the rare case where there are no secondary services, but like for my business, I have, web designer is my primary category because that's what I noticed all my competitors have, but then I have some other services below like marketing, consultant, stuff like that. So you just want to make sure that the key here is actually to copy your competitors. You don't want to be cute, you don't want to be unique, you want to match them identically, so that way you show up amongst them, and then you want to differentiate yourself beyond that. Next up is the description. So the description has been shown to not have a lot of influence as far as requiring keywords to be in there. It doesn't mean you shouldn't include them, just so that it kind of pings it when people see it, and it looks like the description is going to start being used in maybe the insights in the Google browser. So probably still keep keywords in there. I don't think it hurts. And the way I created this description is I actually went to ChatGPT. I said, create a Google My Business. Remember, its knowledge cutoff is 2021, and I believe that's what Google Business Profiles were still called back then. And under 750 characters, that's the limit for Knife Doctor, a professional knife sharpening service located in Bend, Oregon, based on the website copy below. And I didn't spell it all right, but that's okay. And then I literally just went to the website right here, and I just copied everything, and I pasted it right here, and it gave me this. And I don't think I really changed anything. So there you go. And I thought it was pretty good. and then work your way down. Opening date. This is really important. A lot of businesses skip this, and especially if it's an older business, you super want to put this in there. He does not want to get phone calls, so we did not put a phone number there. We have the website there, but I would highly recommend including the phone number if you have one. Make sure it's a phone that gets answered regularly. Every time you get a missed call, Google kind of dings you, and so just watch for that. This is a service-based business, so when you set up the profile, and I kind of walked them through this, it's like 5 steps. It's pretty easy. It will ask you if you're brick and mortar, if you're online sales, or if you're a service-based business, and this is a service-based business, so no location. And then eventually it asks for your address, but that's just for verification purposes to make sure you live in a real address. And then I've set up the service area. It's basically Central Oregon. If you live in Central Oregon and you want some tips, these are the 10 I always include. He didn't want to put the hours yet until he's nailed down his location for the knife sharpening, so we're leaving that blank, and that's okay to do. It calls you open with no main hours, and so that's fine. And then you have more hours, so you can add specific hours. A lot of these are related to restaurants, and so I mean, if you're a restaurant, you will totally do that. If you're not, then you will skip this. I work with service-based businesses mostly, not restaurants, and so I've never used that section. When you put in hours, there might be an option to add special hours for things like holidays, and so you might as well enter as many as you can think of right now, so that we don't have to go back and do it later. So that's something that I do, like when I'm managing business profiles. That activity Google likes to see, right? So you add it there. Now, from the business, what can you add here? You can add what you identify as. I'm not sure how much Google dings you for not putting anything here. I don't think they really can. Like, I can't identify as any of these things. And so, I don't know if I'm being hurt by that, but I have heard of specific stories. I know one gal in a web design community I'm in actually got found through this identifier because she's a Black business owner, and somebody wanted to work with that and work with that type of web designer, and so that they were able to match specifically on this category. And so I highly recommend that if you can check one of these boxes, that you do, because it can only help you, and I don't think it can hurt you. So there's also crowd, LGBTQ plus friendly. If you want to add that, you can. Highlights. The next couple things are all related to COVID still, and so I'm sure these will probably change in the future, but this is not a COVID testing center, and we do not need COVID tests to be able to do meetings. And then under service options, I usually put English, and then if there are any other languages, I would add those as well. So that's actually it for the main profile sections. Now, if the client or if your business already has reviews, you're going to want to go through and read the reviews, and you should go through and thumbs up all of them. And if you have the time, you should sit down and reply to all of them, including the negative ones, and you should actually spend a little bit more time responding to the negative reviews. So if you've never done that before, this is a good time to sit down and do that. And if you have 50 reviews, it's something that you want to do over time. So find I don't know. It just depends on what kind of the velocity you want to do it at. You can do 3 at a time, 3 a week, and just kind of click your way through. But going forward, as reviews come up, you want to reply to them as soon as possible. You can set up messages, and the big thing is that if you set up messages, you want to be able to respond right away. You get the questions will come through either I think the Google Search app or Google Maps. I don't have the Google Search app currently, just Chrome on my phone, and so I've seen stuff through Maps before. So that would be where you'd set it up, and you want to kind of be cautious with this if you're setting it up for somebody else, because you'll start getting a bunch of messages. You want to find out if that's something you want to offer or not, because there's a potential that if it's a popular business, they'll get a lot of messages. So how do you want to handle that? A lot of times when it gets busy enough, something that you maybe offshore to somebody that specializes in this, that knows how to handle customer service, and you give them a list of questions that they can answer on the spot. And then if it's anything beyond that, you say, hey, thanks for reaching out. I sent an email to the business owner. They'll get back to you personally through email. Can you send me your email? Something like that. Might include the email. I haven't actually seen a message yet. So we've done the photos. Performance is really cool. There won't be any data yet. But this is definitely a fun thing you want to keep an eye on, so you can keep track of your calls, messages, bookings, website clicks right here. It's awesome. You can click this to quickly advertise if you want to use Google Ads. And then I want to show you a couple more things. So if you're just starting out and you don't have any reviews or you want to get some more, this is your link that you can send to people. So you totally want to use that. So you can just copy it and send it. And if you need help with that, reach out. I have some templates that you can use. This is how you do a Google post. And so most of the time you're going to be adding an update, and this is what it looks like right now. You can add a description, add a photo, and you always want to add a button with some sort of call to action. Usually going to be like learn more and then link to a page. And so those are good. You want to do post. Probably the recommendation would be about once a week, but if you could do more, obviously that would be great. And so if you're managing a profile, you want to do that. The other types currently are offers and events. So if you're having a special event, you want to highlight that. That post will be temporary, as will an offer, which has like a limited time frame. So those kind of make you feel like, well, I don't want to post that because it's going to go away. It's not like social media where it's evergreen and it'll stay forever. But if you have an offer, it's definitely a good thing because Google will highlight it. And a lot of people have talked to me and been like, I don't even see these updates on Google. Like, is it really worth doing? I say until Google tells us to stop, we keep doing it because it is appeasing the algorithm, even if people aren't seeing it. And I think that Google's trying to find unique ways to highlight these updates. So keep doing them. So that's Google Post. Bookings. So you can set up bookings. So we linked his bookings to just go to his page, which actually will have a Calendly right here. So that should be appropriate. Generally speaking, you'll have a landing page for that, like your contact page, and so I would do that. And if you just have like a Calendly link, you can do that too. And now, for service-based businesses, Google has come out and said it's okay to add products that tie to your services. Now, I did not do that for Knife Doctor, only because we don't have any images, and it requires an image to add a product. And so I just didn't do that. But it's pretty simple, and I'll show you guys. I have a couple here. I need to clean this up, but this is what it looks like here. So this is a product for my website maintenance and security, which I totally need to update. But it's just very simple, and then it shows up down here as the products. So that's good, and it just makes it easier for people to see when they're searching for you. I did add his services, and so this is kind of the placeholder until I can add the products when I get the images. So I added all of his different services that he offers and put in some text here from the website. And I really made sure that these mirrored, so that way it can see. And so I think when I add the products in, that'll really give it a nice little boost. It's always good to have that mirroring between the two. So we went over those. The last thing would be the Q&A. And so what I usually do for a client when I'm setting them up is I'll start with either, I'll ask my client, 1 to 3 questions of what are the most common questions you get, and I'll put them on there, and then you can just answer them from the same account. And you can thumbs up them, why not? And so I think I have one of those for Thencan Designs. Yeah, should I use a website builder or web designer? Build my small business site. Well, it depends, right? So it's something you can do to get the ball rolling, and hopefully people will start to ask more questions over time. I'm just going to see if there's anything else here. I have calls, so you can check out calls here because I have a phone number, but nobody's calling through my profile. And I think this is what it looks like when the message is turned on. So I think I have a default messages somewhere. I don't know, but there's some way to set up that. Let's see, and I think that's it. There's, depending on your business sector, there's other things that you can have. One of my clients is a doula right now, and she has an insurance button, so I got to figure out if we want to add the insurances that she works with on there. But the key really is to just fill that out until you see the green circle of happiness, which I see right there. And so right now, the only reason I'm missing that is because I'm missing out on the cover photo. I think is the only thing I'm really missing, and I could add some Q&A to get that more dialed in. So it's really important to have the green circle of happiness. That is a big boost to your profile. Now, how are we doing so far? So the first thing I want to search is knife sharpening near Bend, Oregon. And we have the old hats in town, and the one thing I've noticed so far is that the Google Business Profile is not listing, but it's only been a couple days, so hold on to your horses there before we start to freak out. So it takes a little time for it to catch on, and then as we scroll down, not too far down the page, in the top 20 results already, again, there's really only like 3 or 4 businesses he's competing with. He's just kind of got to show up amongst the there's a couple directories, right, and some listings for like the big guys in town. So how does he show up higher? And so that really ties into like the long-term game of Google Business Profile management as well as local SEO. So one thing that of course he could do if this wasn't a side hustle, if this was a main business, is he could add service pages for all services, and they would probably show up down here, and then we could tie these service and product pages to go to the landing page, and that would just help like really keep the circle going, so that way that Google would know like that's exactly what he offers, and hopefully tie the services when people are searching directly to the results. Another thing that's really important for Google Business Profile Management is helping with getting reviews, and so that's something that Thencan Designs offers, making it easier for you to get reviews from your clients. You offered great service, you did a great job. Why not ask them for feedback? And most of the time, that's usually all it takes. And so I have a system that I use, and it's a tried and true system that a lot of other digital marketing agencies use out there. And so it's a great system. And then also making sure that you're posting regularly to the Google Business Profile is showing that activity, which in this case, if I do a little competitor research and I look at the other Google Business Profiles, I see they got some images, they got some reviews, but you know what they don't have? They don't have any updates. So how do we beat them? We beat them by adding more reviews and adding some photos in here, and also adding updates. So if we can differentiate by including things that aren't on there, you can sometimes rank higher than businesses that have been around for much longer than yours. And a good example of that is I'll go to maps.google.com and I will put in my business. That's a guy that's actually named Ben Web Design. Smart fella. I give him respect. And so, hey, look at that. We're in the map pack today. And so, Thencan Designs, number 3. Even though we are, we have much less reviews than the people around us and only a handful of images. But you know what we have? We have responses to reviews. We have updates down at the bottom. We have links. So, the key is keeping stuff dialed in. And these guys are on their game, and that's like a real digital marketing agency in town. So like the fact that I rank right behind them, that makes me happy. Let's see what happens if we do web designer near Ben today. Let's see what happens. Not the map pack. I usually rank a little lower for web designer. Kind of all in on Ben Web Design. Where is it? Interesting. Let's try web design. Interesting. So, SEO is a hard game. I do it for myself all the time. And you know what it takes? It takes activity, and it takes persistence, and it takes time. So that's the lesson I want to end with here. Let's go back here. Hey! So thank you for sticking around for that video. You got to see how we set up a Google Business Profile here at Thencan Designs, and you kind of got some insights on how it's really important to not only manage the Google Business Profile moving forward, but also the local SEO. You want to make sure they're matching. You want to make sure things like the name, address, and phone number in there. There's a whole bunch of bullet points that I'm always going over as I manage SEO for my clients. And so this was just phase 1 for Knife Doctor. And this business is definitely not a good fit for a comprehensive digital marketing plan that's looking to help get a small business more TLC. Again, that's traffic, leads, and clients. But really focusing on that traffic aspect, to win organic SEO, You have to have a dialed in Google business profile. You have to do your local SEO. And so that's kind of the first stage of the digital marketing packages at Thencan Designs. So if you're interested, the website is currently being updated with all that information, but if you have questions right away, you can hit that contact button, which is kind of hiding, and I'll work on that. But find the contact button, just reach out to me and we can talk in person, or we can talk online, do a Zoom, and we can talk about how you can get more TLC for your small business, especially here in Central Oregon. Meet the comments, have a good time. Love it. All right. That's it. And if you need an extra thing, you know where to go now. Till next time.